Hey everyone, and welcome to Law Unwrapped, where we simplify the law to empower your future. Today, we re-diving into a topic that many people think is a straightforward path to a green card: marriage to a U.S. citizen. While love is the foundation, the immigration process built on it is far from simple. In fact, it's a maze of forms, evidence, and interviews where one small mistake can lead to heartbreaking delays or even denials. So, let's unwrap the reality of the marriage-based green card process and learn how to navigate it successfully. First, let's break down the core steps. The journey begins with the U.S. citizen spouse filing Form I-130, the petition for alien relative. This form is your official declaration to the government, saying yes, we are legally married, and our relationship is real. You're not just signing a form, you're building a case. This means you need to provide solid proof. Your marriage certificate is just the start. You'll need photos from your relationship timeline, evidence of shared finances like joint bank accounts, joint utility bills, or a lease with both of your names on it. The goal is to paint a clear picture of a shared life. Now, what happens after the I-130 is filed depends on where the immigrant spouse is located. If your spouse is already inside the United States and entered legally, say, on a student or tourist visa, they can typically file Form I-485, application to adjust status. This is a huge advantage because it allows them to complete the entire green card process from within the U.S. without having to travel abroad. This process is called adjustment of status. However, if your spouse is living outside the U.S., or if they entered the U.S. without inspection, the path is different. This is called consular processing. After the I-130 is approved, the case is transferred to the National Visa Center, or NVC. They'll collect more documents and fees before forwarding your case to the U.S. Embassy or consulate in your spouse's home country. Your spouse will then attend their interview there. This path often takes longer and involves more steps, but it's the required route for many couples. Regardless of which path you take, both of you will face a critical step, the interview. An immigration officer will sit down with you to verify that your marriage is bona fide, a legal term for real and genuine, not just a transaction for a green card. This is where many couples get nervous, and for good reason. Officers are trained to detect fraud. They might interview you together, or they might separate you and ask you the same set of questions to see if your answers match. They can ask about anything, from how you met, to what you had for breakfast, to the color of your partner's toothbrush. It's all designed to test the authenticity of your relationship. After the interview, if all goes well, you'll get a decision. If you've been married for less than 2 years at the time of approval, your spouse will receive a conditional green card, which is valid for 2 years. Before it expires, you'll have to file another form, the I-751, to remove the conditions and get a permanent 10-year green card. If you've already been married for more than 2 years, when the green card is approved, congratulations. You'll likely receive the 10-year permanent green card right away. Now, let's talk about the common pitfalls that can derail your application. The biggest red flag for USCIS is marriage fraud. If they suspect your marriage is fake, the consequences are severe, including a permanent ban from ever entering the United States. They investigate this heavily, so never, ever consider a paper marriage. It's simply not worth the risk. Another common mistake is providing inconsistent answers during the interview. Nerves are understandable, but if your story about how you met or your daily routines don't align, it raises suspicion. The key is to be honest. You don't need to memorize a script. You just need to know your own life story as a couple. A huge pitfall is a lack of shared financial documents. Immigration officers want to see that you've intertwined your lives, and sharing finances is one of the strongest ways to prove it. A joint bank account, joint credit cards, filing taxes jointly, or having each other as beneficiaries on insurance policies are all powerful pieces of evidence. A lack of this commingling of funds can be a major red flag. The issue of how your spouse entered the U.S. is also critical. If they entered without inspection, meaning they crossed the border without permission, they generally cannot adjust their status from within the U.S. They will almost always have to go through consular processing and will likely need a special waiver, Form I-601A, to forgive the unlawful presence before they can get their visa. This is a very complex area of law, and making a mistake here can result in your spouse being barred from the U.S. for years. What about divorce? Life happens, and sometimes marriages don't work out. If you divorce before the 2-year conditional green card is made permanent, it can jeopardize the immigrant spouse's status. However, it doesn't automatically mean they have to leave the country. They may still be able to get their permanent green card by filing a waiver, proving the marriage was real when it started but ended for legitimate reasons. Finally, a word of warning: be incredibly careful who you trust for help. Avoid unlicensed consultants or notarios. In many countries, a notario is a powerful attorney. But in the U.S., they are not licensed to give legal advice. Relying on them can lead to incorrect forms, missed deadlines, and devastating rejections that are expensive and difficult to fix. Always seek advice from a licensed immigration attorney. So, let's wrap this up with some final advice. First, always keep a complete copy of every form you file and every letter you receive from immigration. Create a digital backup and a physical folder. This is your case file. Second, as we just discussed, hire a licensed and experienced immigration attorney. The peace of mind and expertise they provide are invaluable. And third, be honest and consistent throughout the entire process. The truth is your greatest asset. It builds credibility with the officers and simplifies the entire journey. Remember, love can open the door to legal status, but only if you follow the rules and build a strong, well-documented case. Don't let a preventable mistake turn your dream into a nightmare. Thank you so much for watching Law Unwrapped. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next episode. We're here to help you simplify the law and empower your future. See you next time.